Do you feel that the world is becoming increasingly chaotic, with frequent disasters, restless minds, moral decay, and life being short and fragile? This is not accidental, but rather the 5 turbid and evil ages that the Buddha foresaw and meticulously described over 2,500 years ago. Today, I would like to share with you how to remain clear-minded in the 5 turbidities of the defiled world and find the true path to liberation. In this challenging era, the Buddha's teachings serve as a bright light, illuminating the path before us. When you encounter this video and the wisdom of the Dharma, please believe it is no coincidence. This is precisely the voice from the depths of your heart seeking the truth that is guiding you. If you resonate with today's content, please leave Namo Amitabha Buddha in the comments. May this precious and virtuous connection continue to flourish. In the Buddha's teachings, the concept of the 5 adverse conditions in the impure world first appears in important scriptures, such as the Amitabha Sutra and the Lotus Sutra. When the Buddha addressed his disciples, he did not present this concept in a pessimistic tone. It is a profound insight that reveals to sentient beings the true nature of the era we live in. In the Amitabha Sutra, the Buddha describes Shariputra. Why is that land called the ultimate bliss? The beings in that land have no multitude of sufferings, but only experience various pleasures. Therefore, it is called the land of ultimate bliss. Moreover, Shariputra, in a land of ultimate bliss, there are 7 layers of monastic groves, 7 layers of jeweled nets, and 7 layers of ornamental trees, all surrounded by the 4 treasures and their various adornments. Hence, that land is called the land of ultimate bliss. The Buddha indirectly revealed the clumsy and evil nature of our Saha world by contrasting it with the pure and majestic Western Pure Land. The social environment of ancient India bears a striking resemblance to the era we live in today. At that time, India was undergoing a period of intense transformation, with various ideologies clashing fiercely. Social morals began to loosen, and people's lives were filled with suffering and confusion. It is against this backdrop that the Buddha revealed the truth of the 5 turbidities afflicting the evil world and provided the path to liberation. There is an ancient story that tells of the Buddha's disciple Ananda's concerns about the future world. One day, Ananda asked the Buddha, "Blessed One, after your passing into parinirvana, how will future beings find the path to liberation in this defiled world?" The Buddha, with a compassionate smile, told Ananda that the defiled world is not only an obstacle, but also a favorable condition for the advancement of practice. Just as the lotus arises unstained from the mud, the bodhisattva can grow ever stronger amidst the 5 impurities and afflictive conditions. This concept has continuously evolved throughout the history of Buddhist development. Early Buddhism primarily emphasized the individual's cultivation of precepts and meditation to counteract the influence of the 5 impurities. In the Mahayana Buddhist period, there is a greater emphasis on generating the Bodhi mind and transforming defilements through altruistic vows and actions. After the rise of the Pure Land School, it advocated achieving rebirth in the Pure Land through the recitation of the Buddha's name to completely transcend the 5 defilements. Even today, despite highly advanced technology and a greatly enriched material life, the inner afflictions of humanity remain largely unchanged compared to over 2,000 years ago. Greed, hatred, and ignorance continue to entangle us, even becoming more concealed and potent due to the complexities of modern society. Therefore, the Buddha's teachings on the 5 turbidities afflicting the evil world have not become outdated. On the contrary, they increasingly reveal their timeless insight transcending time and space. As modern individuals, the challenges we face differ from those of ancient people, but the nature of inner confusion and suffering remains the same. The wisdom of the Buddha is like an ancient clear mirror, reflecting the attachments and afflictions deep within our hearts, guiding us to find the true path of liberation. The phrase 5 turbidities of the evil world embodies the Buddha's profound insight into the true nature of the world. Today, I will gradually reveal to you the nature of these 5 kinds of defilements and how they influence our lives. First, what is defilement? The term defilement, in its original Sanskrit meaning, refers to turbidity or impurity, similar to clear water becoming turbid and impure after being contaminated. Our originally pure mind nature is contaminated by various afflictions and karmic forces, causing the world to manifest various forms of impurity. This is not a problem inherent in the external world itself, but the result of the collective karma we have generated. As stated in the Avatamsaka Sutra, everything is mind-made due to the contemplation of the nature of the Dharma realm. The first kalpa. A kalpa is a concept of time in Buddhism. In Buddhism, the universe undergoes a cycle of formation, duration, dissolution, and emptiness, and a complete cycle is called a kalpa. Kalpa defilement does not refer to the impurity of time itself, but rather to the adverse conditions manifested during specific periods due to the karmic influences of sentient beings. Imagine the world we live in now, superficially prosperous and bustling, yet beneath the surface turbulent undercurrents flow. Natural disasters occur frequently, climate changes abnormally, wars and conflicts persist, and infectious diseases spread worldwide. These are all clear manifestations of calamity. In the Mahaparinirbha Sutra, it is recorded that the Buddha predicted the emergence of 3 minor calamities during the era of the Dharma's decline: famine disasters, food shortages, epidemic outbreaks, widespread diseases, and warfare and turmoil caused by weapons. Looking back at the global situation in recent years, from the agricultural crises caused by climate change to the worldwide pandemic of COVID-19 and the recurring armed conflicts across various regions, are the Buddha's prophecies from over 2,000 years ago being fulfilled one by one? However, nirvana is not a distant and grand narrative. It is present in our everyday lives. When you feel time accelerating, with a day full of activity, yet seemingly nothing accomplished. When you are overwhelmed by an information explosion, but cannot find true wisdom. When technology is supposed to make life more convenient, it instead causes interpersonal relationships to become more distant. These are all manifestations of arrogance on the individual level. The second crudeness, jianquo, refers to jian, meaning perception, insight, and values. Seeing clumsiness refers to the practice of righteous conduct by those holding wrong views and the demonstration of proper view as a deterrent. In today's world, various information and viewpoints are complex and diverse. Truth is often distorted. People pursue immediate gratification while neglecting long-term consequences, and they immerse themselves in worldly pleasures, denying the law of cause and effect. The main manifestations of grasping at the self are 5 types of erroneous views. One is the view of annihilationism, which holds that everything ceases to exist after death, leading to pursuing immediate pleasures without regard for the consequences. Secondly, it is common to become attached to the notion of a permanent and unchanging self, giving rise to a strong sense of ego attachment. Third is eternalism, falling into the dualistic dichotomy of either-or. Fourth is the view of clinging to one's own opinions, stubbornly holding on to one's own perspective and rejecting the truth. The fifth is the false reliance on appearances, blindly worshiping forms while neglecting the essence. In modern society, the attachment to the sword is particularly evident. Extreme individualism leads people to place the self above all else. Materialism leads people to falsely believe that money and material possessions can bring true happiness. Nihilism leads individuals to deny all values and meanings, resulting in hollow indulgence or despair. One-sided media reports, misinformation on the internet, and distorted values in popular culture continuously reinforce these wrong views. However, the most dangerous aspect of it is that it often goes unrecognized, like a person wearing tinted glasses who has become accustomed to the distorted colors without realizing it. Each of us believes that what we see is the truth, yet we do not realize that it is merely the truth filtered through our own perceptions. The third affliction is the affliction of defilements, which is the most direct influence on our mind among the five impurities. The defilements arise when sentient beings are engulfed in the intense afflictions of greed, hatred, and delusion, causing their minds to be restless and unsettled. Greed makes us never satisfied, always craving more. Hatred fills us with hostility towards unpleasant things. Ignorance prevents us from seeing the true nature of things, leading to mistaken choices. In modern society, afflictions have become more complex and concealed. Consumerism constantly fuels our desires, trapping us in an endless cycle of obtaining, growing weary, and then seeking more. Social media stimulates our tendency to compare ourselves with others and incites feelings of jealousy. The fast-paced life robs us of the space for calm reflection, making it difficult to perceive our patterns of affliction. A study shows that modern people face more choices every day than ancient people did in their entire lifetime. These endless choices continually drain our willpower, making us more susceptible to falling into the whirlpools of affliction. Our attention has become fragmented, our thinking superficial, and our emotions intensified. These are all new manifestations of afflictions ignited in the digital age. However, although afflictions are painful, they also serve as good opportunities for our growth. As the ancient Zen masters said, afflictions are bodhi. When we are able to face afflictions correctly, without avoidance or suppression, but instead observe them with mindfulness, the afflictions themselves become the nourishment for awakening. The fourth kalpa, the age of sentient beings. The kalpa of sentient beings refers to the general decline in the physical and mental qualities of sentient beings, along with a reduction in their merit and wisdom. In the time of the Buddha, people generally had longer lifespans, robust health, a simple and sincere heart, and deep-rooted wholesome roots. As time passes, the physical and mental qualities of sentient beings gradually decline. This decline manifests on multiple levels. Physically, although modern people have longer lifespans, issues such as chronic diseases, immune system disorders, and mental health problems have become increasingly common. Psychological issues such as anxiety, depression, and feelings of loneliness have become modern ailments of civilization. Mentally, people's concentration diminishes, patience decreases, virtuous roots become shallow, making it difficult to persistently maintain their practice. In the Chan Agama Sutra, the Buddha describes beings in the age of decline as having short lifespans and frequent illness, being exhausted and lethargic, with little cultivation and many calamities. This description remarkably coincides with the conditions of modern society. Despite advanced medical technology, the suboptimal health conditions of people are widespread. Despite information being readily accessible, genuine wisdom is increasingly scarce. Despite material abundance, the sense of inner contentment continues to decline. A key characteristic of sentient beings' dullness is their resistance and difficulty in being tamed or subdued. Modern individuals possess a strong sense of self-awareness, rejecting external teachings and constraints, and harbor skepticism towards authority and tradition. This makes the propagation and acceptance of the Dharma more challenging, akin to trying to sow seeds on hard, compacted soil. However, the ignorance of sentient beings also brings unique opportunities for cultivation. It is precisely because we are in difficult circumstances that our practice becomes more precious. The fifth defilement, known as lifespan defilement, refers to sentient beings having short lifespans and experiencing much illness and suffering. In the Buddhist cosmology, the lifespan of human beings undergoes cyclical changes of increasing kalpas and decreasing kalpas. According to legend, in ancient times, human lifespan once reached 84,000 years, but gradually decreased thereafter. The Buddha predicted that during the age of Dharma decline, human lifespan would continue to shorten to 10 years and then begin to increase again. Although these numbers are difficult to verify from the perspective of modern science, The underlying principles they contain are worthy of contemplation. Misfortune in destiny is not only reflected in changes in lifespan, but, more importantly, in the decline of the quality of life. Although modern people have a longer average lifespan, the duration of healthy life and the years lived without major illnesses have not necessarily increased correspondingly. Although many people live longer, they are troubled by various chronic diseases and have a low quality of life. On a deeper level, the awareness of life also manifests as a distortion of the perception of time. Modern people generally feel that time passes too quickly, and their lives are filled with various trivial matters, leaving little opportunity to quietly reflect on the meaning of life. At the moment of death, when reflecting upon one's life, one often feels that time has been wasted and that one has failed to live authentically. The awareness of life interacts with the other four types of awareness, creating a vicious cycle. Environmental pollution and resource scarcity lead to impaired health. Impaired health results in unhealthy lifestyle choices. Affliction produces psychological stress that lowers immunity, and the obstruction caused by sentient beings leads to a lack of motivation and perseverance in spiritual practice. The interaction of these five types of obstacles causes sentient beings to be trapped in the sea of suffering, unable to extricate themselves. After understanding the essence of the five hindrances, we cannot help but ask, why did the Buddha describe these negative phenomena in such detail? Is this meant to plunge us into despair? On the contrary, the Buddha revealed the truth of the five turbid defilements in the evil world to awaken our awareness, inspire our renunciation, and encourage diligent practice. Just as a doctor must first diagnose an illness before prescribing an effective remedy, we too must recognize the defiled and evil nature of samsara in order to seek the true path of liberation. The five impurities and evil deeds are not curses from the Buddha, but objective descriptions of the law of cause and effect. It is neither a punishment from a deity nor a mere accidental misfortune, but the inevitable results summoned by the collective karma of sentient beings. By understanding this, we will no longer blindly blame heaven or others, but instead turn our attention toward the evolution of the mind. More importantly, the five defilements are not an unchangeable fate. When our mind transforms, the world we inhabit also transforms accordingly. As stated in the Vimalakirti Sutra, if a bodhisattva wishes to attain a pure land, they must purify their mind. Although the mind is pure, the Buddha land is pure. This reveals a profound truth. The external world is merely a projection of the mind, and purifying the mind is the fundamental way to transform the world. This brings us to our core question. How should we seek liberation in the defiled age of the five impurities? Understanding the nature of the five impurities is crucial, but the key lies in transforming this understanding into practical action. The following are several practical methods of cultivation suitable for modern individuals to practice in daily life. Firstly, the Pure Land practice offers the most direct path to liberation, especially suitable for beings in the five turbidities and evil world. By reciting the name of Namo Amitabha Buddha and visualizing the splendor of the Western Pure Land, we can establish a profound spiritual connection with Amitabha Buddha. This is not merely simple prayer or escapism, but a gradual purification of our mind through concentration on a calm and serene object. As long as one has complete faith, aspiration, and practice, at the moment of death one can be reborn in the Pure Land, forever free from the suffering of the five defilements. In practical terms, one can recite the Buddha's name at fixed times daily, starting with 10 minutes and gradually extending the duration. What matters is not the quantity, but the quality of focused attention. When chanting the Buddha's name, let go of all distracting thoughts, just like an infant nestled in the mother's embrace, completely trusting and utterly relaxed. Secondly, meditation is a powerful tool to counteract the five defilements. Through meditation, we cultivate mindfulness and awareness, facing inner afflictions directly without being controlled by them. In the beginning, you can practice for just 10 minutes a day, simply observing the natural flow of your breath. When distracting thoughts arise, neither resisting nor following them, simply gently bringing your attention back to the breath. This simple practice helps us maintain inner peace amidst a chaotic world. Thirdly, observing precepts is the foundation for purifying both body and mind. The 5 precepts, abstaining from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, false speech, and intoxicating drinks, are not only moral guidelines, but also protective barriers that safeguard us from committing unwholesome karma. In the modern context, observing precepts can be understood as cultivating positive lifestyle habits, respecting life, maintaining honesty and trustworthiness, restraining desires, practicing consistency, and keeping a clear mind. However, there are several common pitfalls on the path of practice that must be guarded against to prevent adverse conditions, with an emphasis on inner transformation. External rituals, such as chanting the Buddha's name and prostrations, are important. However, if performed mechanically without sincerity in the heart, they are unlikely to lead to true liberation. It is essential to avoid extremism and seek the middle way. Some practitioners are initially very diligent in their cultivation, but soon become exhausted due to overexertion. Some people misunderstand the Dharma as a form of passive escapism, thereby missing its original altruistic intent. True practice is neither extreme asceticism nor indulgent negligence, but adherence to the middle way. Avoid isolated thinking. Integrate into everyday life. Practice is not about escaping reality, but about being aware of and transforming afflictions in daily life. Focus on washing the dishes while washing the dishes. Focus on work while working. Integrating mindfulness into every ordinary moment is true practice. The 5 turbid defilements are not a diagnosis given to us by the Buddha, but rather a clear mirror allowing us to see ourselves clearly. When we recognize the defiled and evil nature of the world, it is not to fall into despair, but to ignite the fire of awakening within our hearts. As the ancient masters have said, if the mind remains pure, it is always auspicious. The world of the 5 defilements becomes a pure land. The defiled world and the pure land are separated by only a single thought. When your mind is no longer controlled by greed, hatred, and delusion, and you can face all circumstances with compassion and wisdom, even the world of the 5 defilements can be transformed into a pure land for practice. The Buddha teaches in the Lotus Sutra that the Buddhas, referred to as the 2-footed honored ones, understand that the Dharma is inherently empty and constant. The assembly of Buddhas speaks of conditioned arising, meaning that the seed of Buddhahood requires various causes and conditions to mature. The various challenges of the 5 turbid defilements in this degenerate world are precisely the best soil for cultivating our bodhisattva. Without darkness, how can one appreciate the preciousness of light? Without mud, how can a lotus bloom? Today, carry this ancient and profound wisdom back into your life. Do not attempt to escape the world's troubles. Instead, cultivate your mind amidst them. Every breath, every present moment is an opportunity for awakening. If you have gained something from today's sharing, please feel free to like and share it with friends who are also on the path of practice. Share your practice experiences and insights in the comments section, so that together we may find the path to the pure land of the heart amidst this world of the 5 turbidities. Let us conclude with an ancient Buddhist blessing. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and attain happiness, ultimately achieving liberation.